Okay, so in the last video that I made, we made one of these. And so this is going to represent a lot of different structures in the roller coaster. So this little form right here, you can bend it and tape it together and you can make a little slide. You could make a hill, just bending it together. So you can bend them together, make a little hill. You can kind of crunch them together like so to make all sorts of different things, a little curve. And so you can tape those all together. But we also are going to need a support structure. And that's where this comes in right here. We're going to make one of these this time. So we made this, and we're going to need several of these. We're going to make this, and we're going to need at least 2 of these to hold these up. All right, or to hold this stuff up. So let's go ahead and get started. So for this, you're going to need your paper. You're going to need a ruler, scissors, something to write with. You should use a pencil. I'm using a marker so you can see it easier, and you're going to need some tape. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to mark off. So this is the paper that was left over after we already cut this out. So it started off 3 by 12. So we cut out 3 of the 12, and so now we have a 9 by 9. So when we have this, we want our long side to be the 9 inches, and we want our short side to be 2.5. So I'm going to take my ruler, I'm going to line it up right with the edge, right on the 0, and I'll mark it right at 2.5. So see, I can use so that's going to come right in between the 2 and the 5. So I'll make a little mark there. And in order to make a nice good line going down, we want to have at least 3 marks, just like we did previously. So I'm going to go down to right about half. I'm going to put a line right there. I'm going to come down to the bottom, and I'm going to put a line right at 2.5 down here at the bottom. And so that'll make it easy for me to line up. All right, so I'm going to line that up with the ruler and make a nice straight line. So once I do that, I'll cap the marker. Once I do that, I can use my scissors, and I'm going to go ahead and cut that out. So then I'm going to have a 2.5 by 9 sheet of paper. So I'm going to go ahead and cut very carefully along that line. Doesn't have to be perfect, but the closer it is, the better it's going to be. All right. So now we're going to put that other paper off to the side. Okay, so for this, the last one, we made 1-inch sections in here. So this time we're going to have a few more, and so we're going to divide this up into 1/2 inch sections. So I'm going to use the customary side. I know we usually use the metric side, but for this case we're going to use customary. So we go 2.5, so that'll give me 5 1/2 sections, but I only have to make 4 lines. So I'm going to line it up with 0. I'm going to put a line at 1/2, put a line at 1, put a line at 1.5, and I have a line at 2. So that gives me 4 lines here, and that's going to give me 5 equally sized sections. All right, so I'm going to do that once again. I'm going to bring it down to about the middle, and I'll make sure that they're lined up with 0. I'm going to put that right here, a line at 1/2 inch, line at 1 inch, line at 1.5 inches, and at 2. All right, I'm going to do that again down here. I'm going to have a line at 1, 1/2, at 1, 1.5, and at 2. I'm going to go ahead and I'll line up those lines. All right, I'll line those up and get a nice straight line. So there we go, nice straight line. And do the same thing here, nice straight line, get those all together, nice straight line. And I'll do that 2 more times, lining it up. And once more, make sure I got those lined up. I want them to be as equal as possible, so I might have to work a little bit to get those lined up. Again, it doesn't absolutely have to be perfect, but the closer it is, the better it will work. All right, so we scored with the last one, and so I'm going to show you again. You can take your scissors, the sharp end of your scissors, or it works even with the safety scissors, and in order to fold this, because that's what we're going to do, we're going to end up folding this, what we need to do is, or what I'm going to do is I'm going to score the ends here. I'm going to go right down the line. I'm going to score this. Now, you don't have to press all the way through. you just want to kind of drag it along. We don't want to cut through the paper. We're just going to kind of drag it along. We're going to do that for all 4 of these lines. We're going to drag it along all 4 of these lines. If you go a little bit off, it's okay, but you want to try to stay along the line that you made. I'm going to drag that along. All right, we've got one more. And once we do that, just like before, it's going to make it really easy to fold and crease these. So that's what you want to do. You want to fold and you want to crease along each of those lines. And that's going to make it a lot easier when you score them. So when you score them, it's going to make it a lot easier. So fold and crease and fold and crease until we have all those lines folded and creased. So we're going to have all of them folded and creased. All right, so once you have that, what you're then going to do is you're going to make like a little square with it. All right, a little square, little pillar we have here. So we have a little square pillar, and we're going to want to use some tape to connect these. But before we do that, we need to have some feet so that it can be secured to a base. Now, it's not going to stand up on its own, but you can tape it down, and that'll make it a lot easier. So what I'm going to do in order to make those feet is I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to kind of find a spot in here. I'm going to make a mark right about at 1 inch. So that's how big these feet are going to be. So I'm going to put it right about at 1 inch. And I'm going to do that for each of the lines here so I know where to cut to. So once I have that, I'm going to use my scissors here and I'm going to cut along these little spots right here all the way up to that line so that I get these feet so that my support can be supportive and it can stand and it can do what it needs to do for the roller coaster. All right, so now I have those feet right here. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this back up. And so the next thing I'm going to need is I'm going to need to secure this. All right, so we're going to take our tape. And your tape might have, we don't have the case that goes along with it or the cutter that goes along with it. You just have the tape roll. And so if you just kind of find the edge, let's say, look around for it, find the edge. And so what you want to do is just kind of peel up the edge. And one thing that I like to do is I like to take it and put it on the edge of my table here. And so I can just kind of peel it back and use my scissors, and cut it, and then put some more on the table there. So that way I just have maybe 2 inches, somewhere around there. It doesn't need to be a big long piece of tape. You might think you need a whole lot of tape, but really you just need just a little bit of tape to secure it. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna put it, see the little flap right there? What we're gonna do is put it right on the edge of the flap there. And then while holding it secure, we're going to kind of wrap it around so that it keeps its kind of straight form. We're gonna kind of wrap that around so it keeps its straight form. So that'll hold that together. And so now you can go ahead and bend your little feet back. Now see this kind of tear it a little bit, but that's okay. All right. So we've got that there, and we want to secure it right down here at the bottom so it doesn't come apart. So I'm gonna take a little bit more of my tape. I'm gonna roll a little bit back, cut it. There again, I'm gonna take this little piece of tape. I'm gonna do the very same thing. So I'm just gonna take this and I'm going to kind of put it down here at the bottom. And once again, I'm just gonna kind of roll it around so that it's nice and secure. Now, it's secure, but it's not that pretty. I mean, it's got this little thing kind of flopping around over here. So what we can do, make another little piece of tape. Take another little piece of tape. Now we can either wrap it around, or we could wrap it around again down here at the bottom, or we could take this and kind of place it on the side like this. So we already have it secured, so we could just place some on the side like that and kind of just roll it over to where we've secured the side. So now we can have we'll secure it to a base. We use some tape to tape it down on a piece of cardboard or a piece of cardstock so that it can sit up and you can attach your loop to it or attach your hill to it. whatever you might do, and kind of figure out how we want our marble to go through our maze. And that's essentially it. The next thing is going to be figuring out how we want to design it. We're going to do another pillar, do some more of these, and then we start putting the roller coaster together. All right, well, thank you. Have a good day.